Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we are making grilled chicken with 2 different toppings. I love this recipe because it's really easy to customize depending on who likes mushrooms or who likes tomatoes. I'll also show you some quick and easy side dishes to go with it. So the first one we're gonna do is marinate the chicken. So to that I'm gonna add about, I don't know, a tablespoon and a half of mustard. This is something I typically do in the morning, so then that way it marinates all during the day, and when it comes time for dinner, all you have to do is grill the chicken. And then to that, I'm also gonna add 1/3 cup of a dry white wine. You can use a Chardonnay, you can use a Sauvignon Blanc, Pinot Grigio. If you don't drink and you wanted a substitution, I would either use lemon juice or a little bit of white wine vinegar. But if you're using those 2 things, I would only marinate it tops 15 minutes. I wouldn't leave it in your fridge all day long because the acid from the lemon or the vinegar is just a little bit stronger than the wine, and it will kind of like pre-cook the chicken, almost like ceviche, and you'll end up with like a really weird rubbery texture. It won't be very nice. All right, then we're also going to add some salt and pepper. Do it to taste, just 2 good pinches. The salt will also help tenderize the chicken, and then some freshly cracked pepper. And you know me, salt, pepper, and herbs de Provence. I just find it's usually the quickest, easiest seasoning. Now that we have our base, you want to add a little bit of oil. So I would use either grapeseed oil or avocado oil would be great. Something with a higher smoke point than olive oil. Because if you use olive oil, while it might taste great, when you go to grill the chicken, it'll become kind of like a smoky mess. So it's still gonna smoke with these oils, but it's going to smoke less. Then for the chicken, so I'm working with boneless, skinless chicken breasts that have been pounded thin. So there's a certain grocery store I go to that actually will sell the chicken cutlets, and it just saves a ton of time. Anytime I'm grilling chicken breast, I usually try to throw in a few extra because it's great for meal prep during the week. So a lot of times I'll use this grilled chicken for salads, for lunches. I just love the idea of cook once, eat twice. There, so that was easy. So now we can cover and refrigerate, and then when we get back from work or school, it's all ready to go. So before you grill the chicken, you can make the first topping, which is a really delicious cherry tomato, shallot, and basil topping that has a little balsamic and olive oil vinaigrette on top of it. So all you need to do is just quarter the cherry tomatoes. So you slice them in half, and then slice them in half the other way, and that will just give you 4 little quarters there. And I think that's a good size when you're using something like this as a topping. Okay, so I have maybe about 1.5 cups of diced cherry tomatoes here. Then I'm gonna add about 1.5 tablespoons of diced shallot. You could also use red onion if that's all you had, or you could really leave the onion out altogether. And then just some salt and pepper to taste. Some olive oil on top of your tomatoes, maybe about 1 tablespoon or so, and then a little splash, because a little does go a long way, of balsamic vinegar, just to give it a little sweetness and a little bit of a bite. And then you can toss this up, just making sure that you're coating those tomatoes and the shallots with this delicious vinaigrette. And then the final step right before we serve it is we're going to add some freshly chopped basil. But I don't like to do that now because as it sits here while we grill the chicken, the basil will start to wilt and it might lose its flavor a little bit. So I think it's better to do that at the very end. So we're just gonna set this aside. It can stay at room temperature, and we're going to prep the mushrooms. So I have 2 8-ounce containers of just white button mushrooms. Mushrooms are like little sponges. So if you rinse them underwater, they will absorb all that water. And then when you go to cook them, they'll become kind of a mushy mess. So it's much better to just brush them off with a paper towel to remove any dirt and keep them nice and dry. That way, when we go to saute them, they'll turn nice and golden brown. They'll have great color on them, and that will mean great flavor. And then I just trim off the little ends of the mushroom and quarter them. Okay, there, our mushrooms are ready to go. And then you can also prep one of your side dishes. And I love to serve roasted asparagus with this dinner because it's super quick and easy to put together, and it tastes delicious with all these other flavors going on. So you do want to slice off the ends just where the tough bit is because that can be a little bit harder to chew. There we go. And then pop it on a sheet tray, as single file as you can make it. Drizzle with a little bit of olive oil, then season with salt and pepper. And then I also like to add a little bit of fresh lemon zest on top of the asparagus because as it roasts, it will release the oil in that lemon and will add great flavor to your asparagus. And then just set your asparagus aside until it's time to roast. And then the other thing you can prep are the roasted potatoes. Now, I really love to use my air fryer for these because it's quick, it's easy, and they come out so crispy and delicious. But you also can make these in the oven, and I'll leave you my recipe for those below. All you do is quarter some Dutch baby potatoes, then you'll drizzle a tablespoon of olive oil, season with salt and pepper, and then I also like to add some freshly minced rosemary. Then you can pop them in the air fryer at 375 degrees Fahrenheit for just about 20 minutes. So before you grill your chicken, start on the mushrooms first, because the little mushroom topping can be left at room temperature while you flip the chicken. And then when the chicken's done, you can just saute them up for a few minutes to heat them back up, all right? All we're gonna do is add a little bit of olive oil in our pan. And then I am using a non-stick 12-inch pan. The non-stick just browns the mushrooms a lot better than just a plain stainless steel. That's number one. And number two is you wanna make sure you have a nice wide surface area here so that you don't crowd the mushrooms. So they all get a little hot surface area in which to brown. Okay, so these mushrooms look great. They have some good color on them. And at this point, add a little bit of salt and pepper. You want to turn down your flame to like a medium low because you don't want the pan to be too hot when you put the butter in. Otherwise the butter will just burn right away and ruin all that delicious flavor that you just built. A little more flavor, I also like to add some Worcestershire sauce, maybe half a teaspoon or so. Then garlic, 1 clove of garlic. And this is another reason why you don't want to have that pan too hot, because if the garlic gets too hot, it too will burn. So we just want to preserve the flavor. There is something that is so delicious about the combination of sauteed mushrooms, butter, garlic, and Worcestershire sauce. It cannot be beat, especially when spooned over some delicious grilled chicken. Then the finishing touch for our mushrooms here is a little bit of freshly chopped parsley. Our mushrooms are done and ready to go, and now all we have left to do is grill the chicken and pop in the asparagus. A lot of you guys have asked me about this grill pan. This is my favorite. It is Calphalon. And I have tried a lot of grill pans over the years, let me tell you, and this one is my favorite. It really creates beautiful grill marks. It's easy to use. You can get a good amount of food on it. And I just love it. It's just great. So it's in my Amazon shop if you want one for yourself. So we're just gonna put this on medium high and then drizzle it with a little bit of oil, something, again, with a high smoke point. So I'm using grapeseed oil. Another secret with grill pans, I find, is to make sure you get them really hot. That's another thing, because they need to be at a good temperature in order to really get those grill marks. To make sure it's ready, you can just hit it with some water. Hear that sizzle? That's what you want. Then we are going to add our chicken. So I would just make sure that you kind of drip off some of this marinade so that you're not putting all of the marinade on it. Otherwise, you'll have a soggy piece of chicken. And just grill it in batches until everything's ready to go. And I would say when you're on your last batch, that's when you should pop in the asparagus. At this point, your potatoes will be done and you can plate those up. Your asparagus will be done and you can put those on a platter, bring them to the table. Then all you have to do is slice the basil for the tomato topping, give it a mix, and then spoon it over that delicious grilled chicken. And then you can do the same thing for the mushrooms. And there you have it, a grilled chicken dinner with 2 different toppings and 2 easy side dishes. I hope you guys give this one a try this weekend and let me know what you think. Until next time.